the first seat that I found was a wooden chair, and in terms of comfortability, it was ranked a 3 because wood is not very comfortable to sit in. And after some research, I found out that wood can be expensive, both to buy and to maintain. So I said the environmental impact was, I put it at a 7 because it was better than other materials that I found. And safety, I put a 5 because you can get hurt easier with a wooden chair, or like they can break and you can get hurt, other stuff like that. Sustainability, I put a 7 because they're pretty easy to clean and maintain if you do it well. And then social impact, I put 5 because you can arrange them however you want um, when it comes to your group. And then function, I put 7 as well because they're they do their job. They're a chair. And then aesthetics, I put 10 because they can be customized, and just wood in general looks beautiful. And then the second chair was a desk chair. For comfortability, I put a 4 because they aren't really that comfortable, since sometimes they don't come with cushions, but this one does. And then for cost, I put a 3 because they're made of plastic, so they're pretty cheap to make. And then environmental impact, I put a 1 because plastics are not very environmentally friendly, although they do, for that's why I put a 6 for sustainability because they are pretty durable most of the time. And then for safety, I put a 6 because they're not too sturdy, but they do hold their place pretty well. And then for social impact, I put a 3 because those are set more for, they have like a bar in between each other, so you can't really move them around or turn them to speak to someone next to you, or whatever. And then for function, I put 8 because these are pretty well. They let you see in class, and that you can still sit next to people and keep your personal space. And then aesthetics, I put 0 because they're not very pretty looking. And then the third chair was a metal patio chair. I put a 1 for comfortability because they're not comfortable. They're pretty hard to sit on. And then it cost, I put 5 because metal isn't too expensive, but it's also not the cheapest. And then environmental impact, I put 2 because they take up a lot of energy and resources to make. And then for safety, I put a 5 because you can get pretty hurt with them if you get hit on them. You can tilt them or move them around, so it makes them easier to get hurt with. But they did get a 10 for sustainability because they're very durable and very easy to clean and just keep. You don't really have to maintain the metal. And the social impact, I put 5 because they are able to be moved around and they're outside, so, but you can't share a seat with the same person. So they're like singular seats. And then the function, I put 7 because obviously you can just sit on them, move them around on the table and use them. And then aesthetics, I put 1 because they're also not the prettiest chairs. And then for number 4, I put it was an oversized wooden bench. For comfortability, I put 1 because they're not very comfortable to sit in since they're made too big and they were very steep. And then for cost, I put 6 because it's a mixture of wood and metal. And then environmental impact, I put 4 because again, it's a mix of wood and metal, so the metal made it a bit of a worse score. And then safety, I put 5 because you can't really move them, but they are hard if you get hit on them. And then social impact, I put 10 because they're next to each other, they're in a public place, and you can even share with the same chair with someone if you wanted. And then function, I put 7 because they're chairs, and however, they were pretty far apart, not like next to each other, but the ones across from them were pretty far from each other. And then aesthetics, I put 10 because they have different colors and different mixtures of materials. The fifth chair was a leather lobby couch, and this chair got a 9 for comfortability because it's very, what's the word, moldable. It moves around to fit your place in it, and it's not hard. It's not too hard. And then the cost, I put 8 because I did some research and saw that leather is really expensive, or can be really expensive. And environmental impact, I put a 4 because again, doesn't have a very good impact, and they're a little less durable and easier to scratch or rip. And safety, I put a 10 because it's not too easy to get hurt on these, and they're a bit bigger, so you can't move them around too much. And then sustainability, I put 4 because again, like I said, it's easier to rip them, or they also have more specific ways to be maintained. And then social impact, I put 6 because it's in a lobby. You can share with someone else if you want. You can move it around. Function, I put 10. It gives you a seat and it's comfortable. And then aesthetics, I put 6 because you don't really have much of a variety with colors for these, but they do look really nice on their own already. And the sixth chair was a lobby chair. Comfortability was a 6. It wasn't too hard, but not too comfortable. Cost was a 3 since it was a mixture of, it looks like fabric and a plastic. So I don't think they were too costly. Environmental impact, I put a 5 because it has plastic in it and then the fabric, which is not a very durable combination. And for safety, I put a 7. They're pretty safe. You can't really get hurt with these, but you can move them around, tip them over, which lowers the score a little. And sustainability was a 6 since you don't really have to do much with them, but you do have to clean them and such, and they require more materials than say a metal chair would, or more careful as well. And then social impact, I put a 2 since it was just sitting by itself. Can't really share with someone, but you can move it around. And function, I put an 8. It gives you a seat, so not much more to say about that. And then aesthetics, a 3 because it was kind of a monotone chair. It didn't have much color to it or anything. It was just there to serve its purpose of a seat. And then number 7 was a metal dining chair. Comfortability was a 4 because again, it's made of metal, so not very comfortable. The cost is also a 4 since it is made of metal, but it looked like a cheaper kind of metal. Environmental impact, again, a 4 because it is made of metals, which is more costly and emits more gases and all of that stuff. And then safety was a 7 since they're all grouped together and kind of heavier. You can't really move them around and you don't have much space to tip them or anything. And then sustainability, again, a 7 since it's metal, it requires less care and it's very durable. And social impact, I put an 8 because it's with groups of other chairs. They can be singular too, but most of them were grouped into different tables. You can move them around, combine them. And then function, a 6 because it gives you a spot to sit, but again, it's not very comfortable. And then aesthetics, a 5 since they were all just one color, not really anything that pops out. They were all the same. The next chair was a woven couch. Comfortability was a 7 because it's not metal, so it's not too hard, but it was still a little hard to sit on. The cost was a 7 because I read that these can be more expensive. Environmental impact, I put a 6 because it looks like the material of it wasn't I wasn't able to tell exactly what material it was, but it didn't seem, just based on like a guess, it didn't seem like it would be very impactful on the environment. And then the safety I put an 8 because again, it's a bigger object and it wasn't a hard metal, so you can't really get hurt on it or move it around too much. And then sustainability of 5 because again, it takes a little bit more to maintain. To maintain it, you have to be more careful with it because it can get ripped or scratched. Social impact, I put a 7 because it is a couch that you can sit multiple people on it and you can even move it around. And it was also at a party setting. And then function, I put a 6 because again, it gives you a place to sit, but the backing was kind of hard and the cushion was a little thin, but otherwise it was pretty good. And then aesthetics, a 10, it was a really beautiful couch and the colors matched really well together, matched well with its surroundings. And then the ninth chair was a lobby couch at a library. Comfortability was a 10. It was very comfortable, had cushions, very soft fabric. The cost I researched was, so I put it at a 6 compared to the other materials I had seen. And environmental impact was a 4, so it didn't really have too much of an impact since it was made of fabric. And the safety I put a 9 since it's a bigger item, you can't move it around. It also has cushions on it, so you can't get hurt too easily. And the sustainability of 4 since again it's fabric, so you have to clean it more often and with more materials more carefully, and it can get ripped, scratched easier. And then social impact is 7 since it was set with more couches at a public space like library, and you can set multiple people on them. And then a function 8, it serves its purpose, very comfortable. And then aesthetics, I put an 8 because it was a nice color, and you can of course get more colors. It was in a nice setting too. And the last year was a metal bench, which was not comfortable, so I gave it a 2. And then I put a 5 for the cost, since again it's made of metal, and then so yeah, it wasn't too expensive, but not too cheap either. Environmental impact a 4, again, for the same reasons as the other ones, it's made of metal. And safety I put a 6 just because it's hard. You can't move it around, but if you were to get hit on it, it would hurt very much. And then sustainability I put a 10. It's very easy to maintain. It can stay out in cold weather, rainy weather, whatever. It'll be fine. Social impact an 8 because it is outside and you can sit multiple people, or you can sit by yourself. It has a sort of a divider or an armrest in the middle. And then function a 7, it's really just a bench. You can sit on it and it will keep its place. And then aesthetics I put a 2 since it wasn't a very pretty bench. It was just made of metal.